Dan Bish comes from a family who date back to the earliest settler days in Oregon. His family-run business, Plant Oregon, is located in Talent and specializes in native plants, trees, and river restoration. Because of climate change, he has had to adapt what he cultivates and has become motivated to adopt green business practices in the operations of his plant nursery.
You've been here long enough to see a great deal of shift in climate patterns over the years. What is your experience with the weather in the time that you and your family have been here, as far as you know?
Seems to be warming up, just in terms of not as much snow. You know, we used to get 18 inches of snow here, and we don't anymore, obviously. One thing I have noticed is the Doug fir have died, and the droughts have caused a lot more beetles, and so a lot of the native trees are dying. And so what we're doing in the nursery is no more Portland plants. Instead of growing things from the north, we're growing things from the south and bringing the warmer, drier plants northward, the hardier species. Need less water.
And also, you're right by the creek here, I notice.
Yeah.
So, do you have any concerns about water?
Oh yeah.
When we have these droughts come?
Oh yeah. We've gone to complete drip irrigation. Every tree in the nursery has its own little sprayer, just tiny little sprayer. And so that 2 summers ago, we had a really severe drought, and the creek went dry in June. And so we just sipped off our wells. We have 3 wells, but we ran this whole piece of the nursery on 8 gallons a minute, and so that's not very much water. But with timers and drip irrigation, we can cycle through everything, give everything a drink of water. And so compost, we use mycorrhizae, helps the plants pull in nitrogen. And well, and one aspect of the business is river restoration. And the money for that is actually coming in terms of cooling the rivers. And so they've done computer models, and if you plant enough trees on the south side of the river and shade the water, they're going to keep the water cool. And so the problem there is we don't want to be warming the planet while we're cooling the rivers. And so every time we start a truck and head off to a job, it's like, oh my God, I wish we had an electric truck. Where's our transportation system, right? No sense warming the planet. But yes, in our snowpack, so Little Wagner Creek here is dependent on Mount Wagner and the snowpack up there. And so if we don't get snowpack, we're in trouble.
What would you like to see government entities on the local, state, national, or international level do to mitigate climate change in some manner?
I just can't quite believe that we have known about this problem for so long and we haven't adapted. You know, what would insects do if they weren't adapting all the time to their environment? They'd be gone, you know? And we're just ignoring it. It's like not really happening. We can just keep driving. We can just, ODOT just spent $100 million on a new freeway interchange in Phoenix. $100 million. How much rapid transit would that have bought, you know? And there's no infrastructure in that interchange for anything other than cars. I mean, you can get across on the bike, but there's no train station, there's no, you know, train track. They rebuilt all the bridges in Oregon over the last 5 years, right? I'm sure you noticed. And there isn't that extra little lane for the train track. Or where's our plant? What is the plant? You know, and then I guess the other thing, if I could see like a place to add progress or to add demand for the electrification and or the clean energy system, and that would be in organic agriculture, because we've pulled pesticides out of organic agriculture, we've pulled out chemical fertilizers, and there's one more poison we need to pull out, and that's fossil fuel. You know, if every farm had to increase their fuel efficiency every year by 5% or something easy.
What would be your message to people in the valley, if you could boil it down to one thing to try to deal with this
Well, it's
planetary
kind of
problem?
maybe always considered like the carbon logic in the whole thing. Where is the carbon logic? And always take that into consideration. We can build that into what we're doing.